Hi, it's Shaggy, and joining me this week on the CoffeeCast is a guy that you've probably seen a lot of, but you don't realize it. You probably don't realize it at all. But here in historic Wailuku, we have a lot of these beautiful murals that have went up, and actually all across Molokai, upcountry. I don't know exactly where all you guys have been. Joining me is, and I have to make sure I do not mess this name up, Matthew Agcolicol from
right.
Pangea Seed.
Yeah, Pangea Seed.
Yeah, see, I got it right, Megan. Megan keeps calling you Pangea. Pangea.
Pangea Seed, like the giant continent before we all split it up. Yeah.
So, before we get into any of the artwork, why Pangea Seed?
Well, you gotta ask our founder about that.
Oh.
But I believe there's like so many stories about Pangea Seed. But it's a seed, you know.
Yeah, so like a seed from the original continent.
And the one world where everything's all, you know,
So,
very nice and beautiful.
well, before we get too far, I got to say these are beautiful today because I found out you're a vegan.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and one of the things that we have here at Maui Coffee Company is vegan options. So today we have the completely vegan strawberry cupcake, and then of course, because we were talking about summer today, lemonade.
Lemonade.
But you know, when you talk about like things that do refresh, things that make you invoke time images, your murals that you guys have put up are very pro-Hawaiian culture, and I love that. Because for the longest time, it seems like Hawaii has been taken away from Hawaiians as far as art.
I think we're in the renaissance of the culture, where language is being more, you know, used widely.
We're hearing more
of the olelo, definitely. More of the immersion schools, more of the recognizing the history, more so beyond the plantation times. I think that's what's happening right now.
A lot of people don't realize, like, when you look at Hawaiian history,
right?
You know, like in European cultures, they have mythology of all these mythical kind of heroes, but you're talking about the first voyagers across the largest ocean in our solar system.
Right.
You're talking about guys that united kingdoms and tribes and set up complete systems for dealing with the island.
Right.
That is holistic, sustainable, and just light years ahead of their European counterparts. So when you do your art, it almost invokes this mystical, this magical time in the Polynesian culture of, look, we were once the rulers of Earth.
I wouldn't say rulers, maybe caretakers, you know, keepers, stewards. They all understood that there was a responsibility or kuleana for them to keep it that way, you know. And I think it's through their maritime travels, when they're traveling across the oceans, you know, they're going to find a new place and understand, like, what's happening here, what's the ecosystem,
you know, as our delivery truck driver, hi. The thing is like, when you talk about the stewardship,
right?
It's a holistic kind of approach that you live on this island, you live because of this island, and you live continuously, generations to come, by sustaining the island.
Right.
Now, I kind of want to parallel that with...
Gentlemen?
Hey,
what's up, Vince?
You guys?
It's Vince Esquire.
Vince Esquire.
I love when we have celebrity cameos that we didn't plan on. But your artwork is a little bit of a stewardship as well, because a lot of the places that you have put these murals, especially here on Maui, were historic buildings, but realistically didn't really have a story to tell with
story.
You know?
A story. Okay, first of all, I'm the project director for Pangea Seed Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And we have a team of artists that created this and made it happen together.
And you guys are on Instagram, too, if they ever want to see the team, because you guys have put up time-lapse.
We've put up videos, recap videos, and all kinds of things for the festival. a little bit about each mural, some artist statements and where they're from and what it's about. And yeah, it's all on Instagram at Pangea Seed.
Well, this is one thing because, as a project director then, you also have to consider your source material. And like I said, your
Right.
source material for these murals
Right.
is historic and deeply historic.
Super historic and good.
When it comes to artists typically, unless they're really, really passionate, aren't researchers. Do you actually have people that research the materials that end up
I
being
think-
painted about?
All of the artists research the materials.
So this is something really close to their heart.
They have, well, how this worked is we curated the artists in a way where they had time to produce the concepts and they have time to do their research and then essentially create the work, ultimately in the public context. But at the same time, they're doing their research and we're also doing field research as well with the team and with the artists. So in the context of Maui, when the artists all came together on our first day, we actually did an excursion up to Yao Valley and talked about how sacred it is and how historical and how important and how life-giving, how much the water means to the island. And then from there, we went down to Kaehu Bay, which is in Pakukalo, and we looked at the bay and the reef and made the connection from Mauka to Makai. And that was one of the important things for the artist to conceptualize is the context of Maui on its environment, and how they can perceive the natural resources, the species, the thriving trees and plants, and so they really did a lot of
Digging.
a lot of digging.
Because there does seem to be almost, and I know it's historical figures, but there seems to be almost something very alive about all of the murals. Something that is almost like you see it as like it's there.
It's there, yeah.
It's not something that's representative of anything. It's its own
It's
kind of
its
living
own
thing.
story. It's its own narrative, and I think that is exactly what public art does, or art in general, is invoke emotions. And through Pangea Seed, we use it in the term called artivism, so artivist and artivism, and through that way we connect art with activism and speaking to the environment, speaking to these things that while also trying to empower individuals and communities to create meaningful impact on their surrounding environment. Yeah.
One of the things that I do like, though, and this is something that you probably don't even realize happens, but
What's that?
I have a daughter that's school age. She's in middle school, and of course I have friends with elementary school kids and stuff. And ever since the murals have started going up, there seems to be a lot of, instead of that feeling of not really belonging in the world, there's a lot of the students here, especially of indigenous Hawaiians, that are now starting to feel pride and almost like a hopefulness and a giddiness about their futures again. Is this kind of one of those side effects of artivism?
I think ownership and pride will come with any public art that will effectively connect the culture that's there with our social issues and our environmental issues today. Like, they will relate to that immediately because of their history. That's their ancestors. It's their pride.
Yeah.
But to see it, every day, of course, you're gonna take pride into walking past that wall or driving past it or driving past the mural.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, yes, I love seeing that every single day.
I know, it's almost like you drive by, it's like, oh, hey, auntie, that's my auntie.
Exactly.
You feel that direct connection
Right,
now.
the direct, yes. And then you sooner or later you start to hear the stories. We're a village here, so everybody starts talking about what means what and who's who on there, and it's cool. I think it does create a dialogue, you know, and it does, again, uplift the pride and sense of, you know,
Yeah, the sense of belonging.
belonging.
Now, this is one thing, because I kind of want to wrap it up on this by saying,
Yeah,
first,
no problem.
if you want to see all of these murals, one, drive around.
Drive around.
Two, you've got some pictures in here.
Yeah, we got some photos in the cafe.
Yeah, so if you want to be lazy and have one of these, yeah, you can come down here and see them. But going forward, what do you see your Pangea seed growing into? What's the Pangea tree at this point?
For here, potentially do another one in a different location on the island, so we can grow. You know, as an island, we think of art as something like really hard to attain. You know, like we're majority of our demographic is like, you know, worried about bringing home food to the table, like cans of Spam and, you know, Simon, you know, like I grew up on some of that stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it's really hard to grow art appreciation when we're, you know, just worried about our daily living as locals here on the island. And at the same time, but through the project, Seawalls, I think what we've done is given them our community, a sense of art appreciation, even though they don't know it, you know, like a lot, much more than they used to before. You don't have to know about Picasso. You don't have to know about all these.
Yeah,
you know,
Dadaism,
yeah, you don't
Expressionism,
have to. You don't have
Neo-Expressionism,
to.
no.
You don't have to. All you got to do is walk outside in your neighborhood, in your community, and look around and enjoy the art. I think that's as real as it gets to appreciating the arts, and it's really important, you know, and that ties in with culture. Arts is part of culture.
Yeah.
It's part of our humanity. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then I love driving around at night looking at the murals when nobody's around, so I can just kind of pull over and appreciate them.
Right.
And I do have to say that probably, I think you've predicted it here, so I think from now on in history, this should be known as the Hawaiian Renaissance, the 21st century Hawaiian Renaissance.
It is. It's happening. And I had this talk in 2016 with one of the artists that I've worked with through Pangea Seed in California. He's from New Zealand. He goes by SQ1, and he started as a graffiti artist, you know, and now he falls in this genre called post-graffiti Pacific, which after the graffiti, what happens next, you know? What are they doing?
Yeah.
And he was kind of talking about how New Zealand in the 70s, what was going on during that time.
Was artivism.
Yeah. And now, where they're at is so far, you know, they're doing all those, pretty much Hawaii is following in that suit. So we're kind of like in our renaissance of culture and bringing back all of these, you know, stories, and the olelo and the practitioners are coming out, you know, they're sharing their knowledge, you know, they're and it's awesome because, you know, of not so long ago, 10, 15 years, if you wanted to learn how to make a
Good luck.
yeah, good luck.
Anything.
You got to go find, and if they want to share it with you nowadays, you know, you could go to an event, you know, and you will see what is going on, and you can actually ask questions and talk to them. And so we're in that renaissance of arts and culture.
Well, Matthew Agcolicol
Yes,
from
sir.
Pangea Seed, thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Shaggy.
Guys, you need to go check out his artwork. And online, where can they find...
Check out pangeaseed.org, Instagram at Pangea Seed, and also Instagram at seawalls_ or hashtag Seawalls Maui Maukatumakai.
That's your tags.
That's the Maui Maukatumakai.
Well, until next time, guys, come down and see us at the Wailuku Coffee Company. And till the next CoffeeCast, goodbye.